So here it is, everybody, the iPhone 14 Pro Max in all her glory. We got it in the Space Black edition in 256 gigabytes. And in this video, I know there's been a lot of unboxings already and a lot of reviews, especially from the people that had the embargo on Tuesday and Wednesday. But what I wanted to do in this video is, yes, we're gonna unbox it real quick, but we're gonna compare it to the 13 Pro Max from a hardware perspective. So we're gonna look at the color, look at the size, look at the placement of the cameras, see how big the cameras are, see where the SIM card tray should have been, antenna bands, every little nuance we're going to check on and compare it to last year's model. And then also what I want to do is actually get it set up from an eSIM perspective. Because here in the US, we're only going eSIM with iPhones moving forward, which is, you know, it does make things convenient, but for somebody like myself who likes to go back and forth, it could be a little bit annoying and a little bit detrimental. So we're going to see how long it takes to get ready to go on an eSIM coming from the 13 Pro Max to the 14 Pro Max. Because again, if I have an issue with it, then a lot of other people are going to have even more issues. And the last thing we want to do is call up somebody like T-Mobile to help us out. So without further ado, let's unbox this 14 Pro Max, see what it's all about, and see if that dynamic island hype is real. Okay everyone, so let's get this thing unboxed. We have the iPhone 14 Pro Max. As you can see, I got the 256 gigabyte variant, so it was $11.99 USD. And just to show you guys a comparison to last year, so this is 13 Pro Max. This is the 13 Pro Max box from last year, and then this is also the 13 Pro Max, the actual phone. And I just want to show you guys the difference in the box itself, just to give you an idea. Seem to be the same thickness, but again, I did go with the new Space Black color, but it seems like Apple went back to their all-white boxing as opposed to last year where they went with the black boxing on the Pro models. But like I mentioned in the beginning of the video, even though we are unboxing it, the main point of this video is to actually see what the eSIM situation is like and see if it's actually a headache or if it's very easy and simple. And then the main thing I also want to test out, I don't know if it's going to be done in this video, is if I want to move back to the 13 Pro Max, how difficult is that situation? But let's get this thing opened. And there she is in all of her glory. So right away you see that the colors are a little bit different. Let's move this out of the way. And in the box, again, in classic Apple fashion, just a lightning to USB-C cable, the paperwork, and let's see actually what color the sticker is this year. Oh, we got a classic white sticker. Interesting. No space gray, no space black, or whatever the case may be. So you can see that right away the colors are a little bit different. So the space black actually is a darker black finally. This space gray is more of a grayish hint. And I've been wanting some sort of real dark black that isn't the jet black that we got with like the iPhone 7s, because that's too much black, but something like this that's a little bit more subtle, but still a dark and deep black color. But you can see if we measure these side by side, the cameras are roughly the same size, but you can see that the 13 Pro Max is actually a little bit smaller than the new 14 Pro Max. And then the same color and design language is following, so that it's actually darker in this camera array than it is on the space gray iPhone 13 Pro Max. But again, there is the Apple logo. The Apple logo seems to be the same size. You know, everything is very, very similar. If you had these out in the wild and you didn't have them side by side, probably people would not know that this is the 14 and this is the 13. They would probably think they're just the same phone but different colors. But let's see where the button placement is at. So the buttons are exactly the same spot, but as you can see, I am in the US and there is no SIM card tray in the US version of the 14 Pro Max. And then on the bottom, you still have the lightning cable. Then on this side, you still have the antenna band. The antenna band seems to be a little bit bigger on the 14 Pro Max, and then you have the hold button or the lock button. Obviously no headphone jack on the top or anything, but let's actually turn this on and see what it looks like to get the eSIM installed. Let's peel this back. And let's get our first look at that dynamic island. As you can see immediately, the dynamic island shows up. You got that cool looking pill shape at the top right there, which is very interesting, and I'm sure we'll get used to it over time. But again, let's see exactly what's going on with this dynamic island, and we'll set this thing up. And this is what's beautiful about the Apple ecosystem. Very easy to set things up. So I'll press continue to set up on the phone to pass everything over. And then I'm going to come back to you guys when the eSIM situation starts, and we'll go from there to see exactly how hard or how easy it is to get this done. But getting things ready to go, waiting on the other iPhone, and we're slowly but surely moving. And just for a quick look, you can see the dynamic island versus the actual notch. The dynamic island does come down a little bit farther than the notch did or does originally, but technically it is 30% smaller and it's taking up 30% less space. Okay, so here's the eSIM situation. Let's bring this up and read this in real time. So you can see set up eSIM, and eSIM allows you to conveniently and securely activate cellular service without needing a physical SIM card. So again, I really hope that because this iPhone, even though it has a actual physical SIM on the 13 Pro Max, it's still eSIM ready. So ideally, let's say if I don't like this and I want to return it, I can easily port this number back over to the 13 Pro Max. but that's something that we're gonna have to test out and find out for ourselves. But let's transfer from another iPhone, transfer number, confirm transfer on the other phone. Ooh, okay, so we gotta double click to confirm this transfer. Okay, it's ready. And now, slowly but surely, I'm sure it's gonna do its thing. We're gonna leave this rolling, but I'll fast forward through it and let you guys know exactly how long it actually takes. And hopefully we don't have to call T-Mobile and get anything set up. Wow, just like that, cellular setup complete is now active on this phone. Let's press continue. That took like a minute, everybody. That did not take a long time. And now let's get the rest of the phone set up and finish up the conversation. So one more thing that I did really want to test out, at least originally in my initial testing, is how well MagSafe or the magnets are doing compared to last year's model. Because with the iPhone 12, the MagSafe magnet, when they originally released it, was very weak. iPhone 13, they improved the magnet strength a little bit, but I would still recommend using a case with an extra magnet in there to really solidify everything. And lastly, let's test out the iPhone 14. So this is just a 5,000 milliamp hour battery by Momax that I like to use. So this is the 13. Let's slap this on. You can see it's charging, and if I shake it, it does eventually come off. Now, I usually use a case with it, but again, if you're using a MagSafe battery with the case and then this also, it's gonna get a little chunky. So ideally, you wanna use it without a case. And then if I slap it on here, first off, that new animation is sick, and now let's try to shake it off. So I would say overall, they're pretty much the same strength. They didn't really improve the magnets on the 14 Pro Max. I think I got one extra shake out of this before it fell off. But overall, the magnets, you can definitely use it, especially if you're using something like a wallet, but something heavy like this, like a 5,000 milliamp hour battery that has some thickness to it, you know, I'd rather throw on a case like one of these Pitaka ones that we have right here, which we'll review later on. So that is pretty much going to do it for this video, everybody. Like you saw, the 14 Pro Max unboxing is very familiar. You don't get too much in the box. Apple literally got rid of everything from the box, I think 2-3 years ago now at this point. And from a hardware perspective, it's very similar to the 13 Pro Max. Like if you had the 14 Pro Max in your hand and you were just out in the wild, nobody would really know that it's a 14 Pro Max unless you turned on the screen and they saw that dynamic island. But even then, I feel like most people won't even notice, in my opinion. Only us techies will really notice. But the main thing that we wanted to test out was that eSIM situation. And honestly, a lot of people complained on Twitter. I saw a lot of people having a headache, having to call AT&T and T-Mobile. But for me, it took a little over a minute, which is crazy. I was expecting it to take a very long time to port it over. And once it was ported over, all I needed to do was just get through my original install, get all my apps installed, and it was working perfectly fine. But immediately it cut off service on the 13 Pro Max once it did port over, which makes complete sense. But definitely subscribe to the channel because we will be comparing this to the 13 Pro Max, to the rest of the lineup of phones. We still have to get the new iPhone 14 Plus in the studio as well, so that's gonna be a great thing to see, especially from a battery life perspective. And also we're gonna make a video showing people how to move backwards with eSIM. So let's say if I don't want to keep the iPhone 14 Pro and I want to return it, how do I go back to my original 13 Pro Max with eSIM and still be good to go? Because the 13 Pro Max is eSIM capable, so it should be a seamless transition, but also we're going to test out what it looks like to go back to a physical SIM. But that is going to do it for this video, everybody. If you did make it to the end, leave a little dolphin in the comments down below. I know we were a little late on this unboxing, but I'm very excited to have this dynamic island ready to go and this new iPhone 14 Pro Max ready. But leave some comments down below. Did you guys upgrade? What did you upgrade from? I'm sure if somebody's coming from an iPhone 10 or an 8 or even a 6, it is going to be a very, very dope upgrade. But if you're coming from the 13, it might not be worth it unless you really, really want that dynamic island, which is more of a form over function in my opinion. But that's going to do it for this video. If you guys want to watch some more content on iOS 16, iPadOS 16, and everything Apple, click on one of these videos right here. But until next time, I'm Fernando, and I'm out of here, everybody. Peace. God, this is taking forever to freaking set up.